Okay, finishing up our lesson today for 1-2. Number 11, this is now a two-step equation. So two-step equations, you have to make sure you understand what to do first. And so we are going to basically do order of operations backwards. Where we did subtraction last in order of operations, we're going to do that first. And so the reason we do that, if you think about unwrapping a present, if you put a present in a box, and then you close the box, so you put the lid on it, and then you put the wrapping paper on it, and then you put the ribbon on it. When you unwrap it, what do you take off first? You start with the ribbon, and then you take off the wrapping paper, and then you take off the lid, and then you open the box. And so it's backwards. And so that's what we're doing when we solve an equation. So another way you can think about it is if you think about taking your finger and putting it over the variable. So if I was to put my finger right over that, what's left? -8. So we're going to take care of that first. So I'm going to do +8. And that's that addition property of equality. So +8, so I'm going to have, and you need to write it like this, where we add it on both sides, a line down there. So -8 plus 8 is gone, so I'm left with 5x is equal to 32 plus 8 is 40. Divide both sides by 5 because 5 times x. So I'm going to do the opposite. So x is equal to 8. So I'm going to write that in set notation. And that's my answer. Okay, let's go to number 12. Okay, the problem you need to write down, y divided by 3 plus 2 equals -4. So take your finger and put it over the variable. What does it cover up? So what's left for you to do? You're going to take care of that +2, so do the opposite. So you're going to have the y divided by 3 is left. And -4, don't forget that negative. -4 minus 2, that's lose 4, lose 2. Okay, so then we're going to get rid of the 3. It says y divided by 3, so what's the opposite of divide? It's multiply. So we're going to have y equals negative times positive is negative, 6 times 3 is 18. So in set notation, y such that y equals -18. Okay, number 13, put your finger over the variable. Where's the variable? Okay, you put your finger over the variable, it covers up that part. So what do you have to do? You're going to get rid of that -4. Okay, so let's set that up. So we're on two sides of the equation. Make sure you know how your sides are divided with the equal sign. You're going to have -8 and -4. Lose 8, lose 4. You've lost 12. And then -6m. Now it says -6 times m, so we're going to divide by -6. Divide by -6, and negative divided by negative is positive. So writing it in set notation, remember the variable has to come first. Okay. All right, so number 13, I want you to write it down. Oh, that was number 13. Yep, okay. All right, let's go to number 14. So you're going to write that down. You've got a 31 in there. Now you have to do your justification. So just think to yourself, did I add on both sides? Did I multiply on both sides? Did I divide on both sides? What did I do? So write that down. So I want you to do your best to do this problem. The last step will be to write it in set notation. So pause the video and work through number 14. Okay, so what we're going to do here, again, if you cover up your variable, what do you have left? You have the 9, so get rid of it. Okay, so I'm going to have -12x equals, and then 31 take away 9. Well, 31 take away 10 is 21. Put 1 back, so it's 22. What did I do to both sides? I subtracted. Okay, the next thing is it says -12 times x, so I'm going to divide to get rid of that. So division property of equality. So I'm going to have x is equal to 22 over -12. Okay, we're not going to write this as a mixed number. We're not going to write it as a decimal. We're going to simply simplify our fraction. So a positive divided by a negative is negative. 2 goes into 22 11 times, and it goes into 12 6 times. So it's going to be x such that x is equal to -11 6. Now I'm going to just say right here that if there's some things and you're thinking, I don't remember how to do that, I don't remember how to do that, I am operating on the fact that you should know how to do it. And then as we work through things, in days to come will go back and help you with that if that's a problem, but you have to be willing to ask. So if simplifying fractions is something you're not really sure about, then you want to put a question mark like that. And then you want to come back and ask me about that sometime soon. Okay, so you need to take responsibility for what you don't know and what you need to get help with. And so since I'm not here, and that's why you're having this video, you're going to write that down so you know what to ask me. Okay, the next one, number 15. B divided by 5 minus 1 equals negative 6. B divided by 5 minus 1 equals negative 6. So again, use that little strategy of putting your finger over the variable. What does it cover up? It covers up this part. So what do you have left? You have minus 1, so add 1. Do the opposite. Okay, so you're going to say we've got B divided by 5. This is gone. Negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. What did I do to both sides? I added. Okay, now B divided by 5, the opposite of that is to multiply. Okay, so I multiplied both sides, so that's the property I'm using. So I'm going to give B is equal to a negative times a positive is negative, 5 times 5 is 25. Write it in set notation. So last year in 8th grade, you learned how to solve two-step equations, which is what this is. The only thing that is new here is the properties, possibly, and definitely writing in set notation. So those are the new things. So the other stuff should be review. So if it's not review, then that's something that we need to look at. Okay, you didn't get that from last year, so going forward in this year, you need to know that better. So that's where you're going to have your questions if you have any that you need to ask me at a later point in time. Okay, we've just got a couple more. Number 16. This is the perimeter equation, perimeter of a rectangle. We're going to solve it for L. So you're going to use the same exact strategy. Put your finger over the variable that you want to solve for. Okay, so we need to get rid of 2W. So we're going to take away 2W. The thing that messes everybody up is when you have all these letters, they get a little freaked out because they're like, oh my gosh, there's so many letters. It works exactly the same way as if they were numbers. It doesn't matter. So we subtracted from both sides. So now the only thing I need to do is get L by itself, so I'm going to divide by 2. So I divide the entire other side by 2. So my answer, and that's division property of equality. So when you have these are called literal equations, and when you have literal equations, you do it exactly the same way. There is no difference whatsoever. So use the same steps in the same order, same properties. Okay, let's do number 17. Okay, we're going to solve this one for n. So get your finger, cover up the variable n. Where does that cover? Okay, what are you going to get rid of? The minus 8, so you're going to add 8. Okay, so you're going to have negative 3n, this is gone, equals k plus 8. And what did you do? You added to both sides. Now get n by itself. So it says negative 3 times n, so we're going to divide by negative 3. And I'm going to divide the other side by negative 3. We're not doing anything fancy. It's just exactly the same thing. Okay, the last two problems we're not going to justify, so you don't have to write the properties, but you do have to solve. So number 18, you're going to solve this for n. Y equals m times n times p. So think about what do you have to get rid of. Now, if it helps you, you could write it like that. Multiplication is commutative, so it doesn't matter the order. And then number 19, this is what that problem says. Z equals 1/4 times xy. So write both of those down. I'll give you a few minutes, and you can solve them, and we'll see if you're right. Okay, on number 18, it says m times n times p. N is what I'm trying to hang on to. I need to get rid of m times p, so I'm going to divide by m times p. So y divided by mp equals n, and that's it. It was just one step. Okay, let's go to number 19, last one. We're going to solve for y. So cover up the y, what do you need to get rid of? You need to get rid of two things. So let's do this one thing at a time. Let's get rid of the 1/4. So we do that by multiplying by 4 over 1. So times by 4 on both sides, we're going to have 4z equals xy. Okay, then we are going to get rid of the x. So it says x times y, so I'm going to divide by x. So 4z divided by x equals y, and that is your answer. Okay, so on your homework, you are going to have problems like all that we've seen where you have to justify, some where you don't have to justify. Please pay close attention to where you're supposed to write your answers and set notation. Remember that to get full credit on the homework that you hand in, it has to be completed. You have to show your work on it. If you don't do that, then you will not get the points for that assignment. You will have a quiz next time covering this material. You need to be able to solve and justify for 1- and 2-step equations, whether they are just your regular equations or whether they have more than one variable like these last ones that we've seen. So you're going to have some questions next time at the beginning of class on your quiz that are going to cover this homework. So right now, for the rest of the class period, you should be working on your homework. You can look at your notes to help you. You can quietly ask a neighbor if they know how to do something if you're not sure. But you need to make sure that you're taking this seriously and doing all of your work so that next time you're in class prepared, because we'll be moving on next time. Okay, if you have any questions, you can come in and ask me before school, and I'll be happy to help you. Please make sure that you address questions early so that they don't become large questions. Okay, have a good day.